raised in fire, always in flame, unseen by the world, a child with no name, a wish to be wanted, a hope to belong, but silenced again by violent blows. Then CASA calls out, you are not alone. They offer a hand and a place to call home. One caring adult can change a young life. The child finds hope and the freedom to smile.
Welcome to the CASA of Red River podcast. My name is Jason, and in our second episode, I am joined by Kathy, one of our CASA volunteers from Montague County. Kathy has served as a CASA volunteer for several years and with more than one CASA program here in Texas. She brings a wealth of experience, compassion, and insight to our conversation. If you find value in this podcast, and I believe you will, please share it. Share it with somebody who has asked you about CASA. Share it with somebody who may be looking for a way to be of service. This might be exactly what they've been searching for. And of course, like and subscribe so you can follow along as we continue this journey. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode. I buy the bag of ice. It's got a chute for coolers.
Right. Okay.
And so she's holding the bag under the chute for the coolers. And I tell her you got to catch the ice in the bag, but then I have it come out the chute that has it already bagged.
Okay.
That TikTok clip has 5 million views. I was like, you know what? If I can get 5 million views, it's the only one. I've had some other ones that have 4,000 or 5,000, views, but 5 million views. I thought, if we could get just a clip from something about CASA, and got 5 million views, 1 million views, 100,000 views. I mean, that's a lot of people finding out about CASA and what we do. And
It is. Yeah, I got my hair cut a few days ago, and the lady that came in after me that was with the other stylist mentioned that she was thinking about CASA.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm a CASA.
Right.
What do you want to know?
Yeah.
But just like me, I had heard about it and thought about it and run into it, the idea of CASA, for years before I became one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how did you come to find CASA in the first place? Like you're going along, you're just in your daily life, and then there's an opportunity to volunteer. Have you volunteered for other things before?
I have. So there was a period of time where I was a stay-at-home mom, and I did a lot of volunteering. And then I became a full-time employee. I was a public library director.
Oh.
So in a small town, and I heard people talk about different things that they did. I wish I could remember exactly the first time I heard about CASA, but it kind of piqued my interest because I also had been a part, very short period of time in my life, but a part of the system. And if an older woman had not taken an interest in me during that time, then I would have become like everyone else in my environment. And I wound up being pulled aside, set aside, and sort of just cared for. And this woman just built this safety net around me that I didn't see for decades, and then looking back on it. So I'd heard CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocate. I saw the billboards. I heard about it. Well, I'll do that when I retire. Well, I don't know that I have time. Well, so finally there were enough people in my life that were talking about CASA, and one good friend that said, you need to do it now. And you've got a really good organization here where you're working, and they have awesome training. So the training was, I think it was like 2 weekends, 3 or 4 days in a row in the evening. It was quite intensive and a lot of information. And when I went through it, they assigned me a 6 or 7 year old kid. Like the day you graduate, you get your kid, and you get the jacket, you get the file, and you have all this information about what to do. And I went home, and then, or actually before I left, I told the lady, I said, I'm happy to have this kid, but my heart is really with teenagers. She called me the next day, the director of that particular CASA organization, and said, I discovered we have to turn away teenagers because nobody wants them.
Oh.
So she took my 5 or 6 year old from me and gave me a teenager. And then I learned more about CASA from inside CASA and the other CASAs, and what it meant to be a special advocate, and the checks and balances that you provide to the CPS system, and how you really can be a representative for that child without the stringent rules and responsibilities of CPS or of the court-appointed attorney or of all the people in the system that are working for the system, because you're outside the system and you're just there for that child and that child's family.
That's something I really wanted to get to, but also the impact that you have on a child's life and the role that a CASA plays in that it's not just, showing up a minimum of once a month and spending some time with a child and talking to them, but that you also have this responsibility that exceeds that of the courts and the system in itself, because you're outside of the system and you have such a kind of elevated place, like you outrank everyone. That's one of the things I like so much. My first case was a sibling group of 3. I had a sibling group of 3, but I've been given mostly teenagers. They told me when I graduated, I started in 2012, and they tried to give me an infant. I was like, I really wanted to work. Not that infants don't need CASAs,
We all have a different heart.
Yeah, and mine is to get out there and help steer somebody who's in a bad place to a good place, and show them that there are people that will care for you and love you for nothing, for just being you. And that always takes a long time to get through to them. But do you have like a story, either tragic or so?
I've got 2 or 3. So yeah. I don't want to talk about the tragic ones.
Right.
I don't think that'll recruit anybody.
Yeah.
But one of the unique CASA cases were 2 boys. The boys and their mother were living with Grandma. Mom fell down the drug hole, dragged inappropriate men into the home. Let me back up. Her husband had died.
Oh.
So she fell down this rabbit hole. The judge in this situation appointed. CPS was involved. The judge removed the mom from the home instead of removing the children. So the children had a stable home with Grandma. They had a stable life. It was just Mom that was creating these problems. Mm-hmm. And so in that case, the judge removed the mom from the home. CASA got involved, and CASA was able to cut through a lot of red tape that Grandma was having to go through. She was having to take off work to go fulfill requirements. And then when she would get there, they weren't ready for her, or they hadn't told her things to bring, so she would have to go back and then take off work another day. And everything was a 30 to 45-minute drive to the different offices she had to go. So through CASA's involvement and constantly calling CPS and constantly calling the guardian ad litem for the children, CASA was able to cut through some of that, get lists of things that she needed to bring, create a checklist, so Grandma was able to be a little more efficient in her compliance, and the boys were represented. They wound up, Grandma got custody. The boys both graduated high school. Last I checked, one of them was in college. Mm-hmm. So it was a very unique situation because the home environment was not the problem.
Yeah.
It was one adult. And the judge in this situation clearly saw that and also saw that CASA was needed. So that was a really, really good outcome. I'm proud of both those boys. And I'm especially proud of Grandma for navigating this system.
Right.
And she worked full time. She did not have a high-paid job, but it was a respectable job.
Yeah.
And the whole family just thrived.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you still have kids that reach out to you that have already aged out or that have been adopted, or do you still hear from them?
That is one of the things that's different between the CASA organization I was with before and the one I am now. It was made extremely clear to us, especially the people that were teenagers, I don't know about the rest of them, that CASA and guardian ad litem is a legal relationship. You don't Facebook them. You don't Facebook the families. You can stalk them, but you don't develop a personal relationship. And that when the case is over, you also make it clear to the family that it's a legal relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, here, it's completely different. I guess because it's such a small town. So the only one that does reach out to me is the one that aged up into prison.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's one of the tragic, sad stories, taken from his family at 6 and pretty much institutionalized most of his life.
How old is he?
I don't know. Is he 22?
Oh, he's in his 20s then, so.
Let's see. He was 17 when he was incarcerated. He must be he might be about to turn 21.
One of mine that reaches out most frequently is now in college.
Nice.
Yeah, and let me tell you what, of all the kids that I've been assigned through CASA over the years, he has the most horror show of a story. The first foster home I went to that he was at struck me weird, and I was right. And so we wound up getting him out of there, sending him somewhere else. That foster home got shut down. And that's another thing that CASA does that I think is important that people know, is that we're not only looking out for the kid against the people that already abuse them, but people that still want to, that might be a part of the system. So you're out there hovering and watching and making sure that nothing's happening to them when they're supposed to be in a safe place. But yet, I know that whenever you first become a CASA, that's the idea, is to you don't add them to Facebook, you don't add them to your social media, you don't become an integral part of their life in that way. You're their guardian, not their friend. It's kind of like being a parent. It's like, hey, I'm dad, I'm not.
Yeah, I think of it
your
more
best
like
friend.
being the favorite aunt,
Yeah, exactly.
favorite
yeah.
uncle. Because
Yeah.
you're not in a parental role.
Yeah.
And I think for someone to become a CASA, as long as they understand that, they're not there to say what's right and wrong. They're there to help them understand what boundaries are and how to love the people that you want to love you, and how to keep them at arm's length when it's appropriate, and how to let them in when it's appropriate. But,
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part about being a CASA, is understanding the big picture, because you can get so involved in the details
Yeah.
that you forget why you're here.
Yeah.
So...
Have you ever had one of yours that just went wrong, where you had to bail? Have you had any of them that you've ever had to just bail?
The one that's in prison, I felt that way, but
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't. And I had not my supervisor, but there was a CASA supervisor in the office that was male that I would call and talk to about him. So, because, as a young man grows, he really needs male influence, and I'm not that.
Yeah.
But, so, I did the best I could to be. And this is the one that still calls me, you
Yeah.
know. And I think having a position of faith and knowing that, God is in charge of everything, and just be yourself, just be there, and just help where you can,
Yeah.
and let go when you can't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I've been fortunate. All mine have had pretty good outcomes, and restored families and restored lives, and
yeah.
I haven't had a lot of the truly tragic
Have
stories.
you ever
except
had
this
one that was
kid.
reunited with their family?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no kidding. One?
I don't know.
Or two?
I think that's
Bunch of
I
them?
think that's my gift.
Really?
So I think that's why I get those.
Wow.
A lot of times, so there are the horror stories,
Yeah.
but a lot of times there's just maybe circumstances or situations or seasons of problems.
Yeah.
And I think one of my gifts is seeing past that season to the next season. And how do we get there without getting mired in the struggle of this season? And my current one is like that. So, so I've been real fortunate with the cases that I've gotten. But sometimes a not great family
Yeah.
is better than the alternative. It depends on what makes them not great.
Right.
If the house is dirty, that's not a reason, And if families, I think the key is the family willing and able to learn a different way?
Yeah.
Because if they're so far into their drug culture or their meth addiction that they're unable to learn a different way, that child's not going back to that family.
How much time do you think it takes? What kind of time do you invest in a month doing the CASA work that you do?
So it's kind of a little bit of a roller coaster in time. You wind up spending a lot of time surrounding events like court events and things like that, making sure you're all the things that you should be doing or you've done. And then other times there's nothing going on. So it really it really depends. I guess on average, maybe a couple of hours a week might be the average, and that's probably a high average. It depends on how many kids you have, how complicated the case is, how many court dates, how many if it's a sibling group, how many different placements there are, how old your kids are, how often they reach out to you. So I think your minimal investment, you probably should at least consider an hour a week for training and studying and reading and contacting the different people that you need to contact, the school or the doctors or the dentist or the foster home or the court, the child's attorney or the mom or the dad, whoever's on your plate that you need to check. But it's not hard. It's not tons of time, except periodically there are quite a bit of, you do wind up spending a few hours at a time. Yeah, CASA is very gratifying, but it's also hard sometimes. Luckily, my husband is a compassionate man, and occasionally with this, the young man that aged out that I told you about, sometimes I just, laid down and cried, and he would just like hold on to me until I got it out of my system. I'm going to cry now. But they do get to your heart, but the help that you provide these kids, there's no one else to do it. There's no one else for their voice. They don't have a voice. They're a kid. And CPS has their checklist. The courts have their checklist. The attorney for CPS has their checklist. All the adults that show up in that courtroom all have a checklist except CASA. And the court-appointed attorney, the child has an attorney, but the attorney's job is to recommend or is to represent what the child wants. CASA's job is to look at the big picture, what is in the best interest of the child. And you can disagree with CPS, you can disagree with the attorney, you can present your case on behalf of the child, not the system.
I actually had a couple of ladies say that they'd love to do it, but they don't think they could handle it, emotional toll it would take. And I think it's but you've mentioned it. I say it all the time. I said, listen, you're going to go on a call. You're going to go meet a kid. You're going to have some moment after you have where you make a connection or they say something would be uncharacteristically positive that comes from them. And after when you get a chance to be by yourself, you're just going to have a cry. I mean, you can't do this and be emotionally bankrupt. That's not going to happen. You're going to have a cry. But there's so many opportunities where you're going to connect with a kid. It's such a blessing. It's one of the most remarkable things that I ever got a chance to do. I'm so glad. I found CASA through a therapist. I had a problem because my nose was broken. So I went and I saw a therapist and I was talking to her. I said, listen, there's nothing in this world. I get such a dopamine rush, I guess, from helping people and being of aid and knowing that, what I did had a purpose, maybe there was something I could get out there that, pick somebody up. But the issue was I was doing it in a way that was tragically codependent.
No boundaries.
No
healthy boundaries.
There was an incident after I got through therapy, and my therapist was like, "You're real good." And I was like, "Great, okay, I'll see you sometime." But where I remember the first instance where what she taught me rang in the moment true. I was at work and I was crossing the floor, and I love Kindles. I have it's almost obsessive. I have every version of the Kindle to today. So I was out on the casino floor. So one of the technicians was talking about reading and that sort of thing, and that all he has to read on is his phone, which is so small, and it's awful to read from. Just eye strain and all that. I mean, and I was like, you know what you need? I read
all my books on my phone.
But I was like, you should get a Kindle. He goes, oh, I really like one, but I can't really afford, And I had a moment where I was like, well, I'm just going to buy him one. Like, see, that's where my no was broke. It was no, I would buy him one. But what I did is I didn't buy him because he didn't ask me to fix his problem. He didn't ask me to solve his problem. He didn't have a problem. But I decided he did, and I would fix it.
Gotcha.
So that's what I learned from therapy, is I didn't have to do that. But I wanted a healthy way that I could be of service, and I could do something, and I could help people. And my therapist said, "Have you ever heard of CASA?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Oh, you'd never heard of it at
No,
that time?
never.
Okay.
And I said, "No, I've never heard of it." And she goes, "Well, I think it's really good. I think you'd really like it." Because it's a volunteer organization, and they help children. And I went, "Oh, I'll go check it out." And I looked it up. I checked it out. I go, "That's for me." I went and got my app, did everything I had to do, and did it for 7 years. So,
Well, for people that, you can hear about CASA. You can see a billboard. You can be curious. You can go ahead and sign up. You can go to the training. And you can decide that it's something that you might want to do in the future and not do it now. But signing up for the training, learning what CASA does and what's involved is a very small commitment. So if you're curious at all, it's easy enough to find out if it's something for you without a huge investment. And CASA is more than willing to train you and hear you say, "Not right now."
that's the thing that's vital. That is vital. Yeah, the idea that that you have to jump into the deep end right away and just start, knocking it out. That's not. You can wade in as you wish. All right. Well, I know I've got more than enough, and I appreciate you talking to me. It was really awesome.
Then CASA calls out you, I'm not alone. They offer a hand and a place to call home. One caring adult can change a young life. The child finds hope and the freedom to smile.